Hey Snackers, this is Kareem Iskander. I'm a lead technical advocate with Cisco Learning and Certifications.
Hey everyone, I'm Matt DiNapoli. I am the head of developer strategy and product management with Cisco Developer Relations.
Welcome to episode 115 of Snack Minute.
Snack Minute is your weekly 10-minute bite of learning, coding, and just some cool stuff we'd like you to know.
And the cool thing that we're going to talk to you about today is some content update in Cisco U with my colleague, Geoff.
I'm Geoff Anderson. I am the product manager for content for learning and certifications. I am responsible for pretty much everything internally that we develop and publish. I do have a couple of peers who work on our third-party content and also the future coming of our user-generated content. So plenty of good stuff coming there.
So you were on a while ago, if I remember correctly, and you were talking about this CCIE practice labs, and I remember I got really excited about those. Can you give us a little update on how those are going before we get into the new stuff you want to talk about today?
People are raving about how great it is to get their hands on the actual gear in the environment that they will see for their lab. It greatly reduces the risk of their preparation, and hopefully, I know it sounds terrible, but the goal is so that people pass sooner, so they don't take 2 or 3 or 4 attempts to pass that exam. They can at least remove one of them because they can take that uncertainty of what they're going to experience when they walk in. So hugely successful. Everybody's really excited about it, and I believe that there is the goal to add more of those. It's just gone very well.
Geoff, talk to us a little bit about what's new with Cisco U from a content perspective.
Yeah, so you've probably heard a whole bunch of stuff about Cisco U on this, but a lot of that's been about the platform, the experience, the different types of content. I'm mostly focused on our specific training, what we call learning paths. In the past, we called these courses, but for Cisco U, we have created a structure called a learning path. That learning path is built up of tracks, and each one of the tracks has an assessment, pre and post assessment that, I'm sure you've all heard all this before, but I'll repeat it very briefly. And inside each track has multiple smaller courses. So whereas a module in the old CCNA might take you 4 hours to get through, we actually have small courses that are targeted to be 20-ish minutes plus or minus.
Ooh.
Labs obviously take a little bit longer, but the goal is to give you little bits of content in a structured way that allows you to access it what you need, but it also gives us the ability to leverage that content in other places besides a large monolithic course. So all good stuff. What we have that's coming, by the time this hits the airwaves, we will have released our August batch of courses. We have 11 courses in there. I'm really excited about one of them. Many of them are refactored versions of our older learning courses with minor updates to
Okay.
make them more applicable to it. But again, so they're going to be names of things that you are probably familiar with. But I'm actually really excited about one of them. We have a new course around the NCS 540 product. That is the small form factor network converged system box, which is it's essentially used. The primary use case is for mobile backhaul for 5G. So if you see 5G antennas up on various things, there often will be a small device on that for the backhaul, and the backhaul is often going through the internet, but it also has the ability to bridge between electronic and optical networking. So it's really a cool box. Cisco is selling a lot of these. It's being deployed in a lot of places, and I'm really excited to have that course finally be available for us out there. We expect that to do very well. I do have 2 updates for our certification courses for enterprise networking. We have ENSDWI, which is our SD-WAN certification course, and our design course, the ENSLD. People out there colloquially call it the Encelad course. But those are major updates to support the changes to the blueprint. The first day to test on the new exams is September 20th, and those are going to be those updates are going to cover that, also to greatly improve the content and suitability of it. They're going to major release. So we need 2.0 and a 3.0 version on those. So good stuff there. I have courses around security. So in the advanced malware protection and snort rules courses are coming into it. We also have a couple of courses around our NSO product, the Network Services Orchestration product. It's a service provider focused automation tool, lots of stuff there. And then I also have an oldie but a goodie. So 802.1x, which is a non-standard acronym for Cisco. But again, that's a course that really is targeted at secure Ethernet access and something that everybody should get a feel for. So that's really exciting. By the time you see this, those will be already live. So coming up in October, I don't have quite as many learning paths. I think I have 11. I got 9 of them that I'm counting on my screen, my page right here. And some of them are some oldies but goodies. With the 802.1s like X, we have also QoS. QoS, before we did a light touch on that for Cisco U, I think the last time we updated that course was in 2013. So it was a little long in the tooth, but the technology hasn't changed that much, right? So it was still valid.
QoS has not changed much. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still important. It's still essential, right? Everybody really needs to know something about it, right? And that's the course that does that. We have uplifted it. It's going to have a better look and feel. We're going to have better lab experience with that. So Cisco U is going to bring quite a bit to the table for that. I do have some courses, the update for EN Core. That's also to support the new revision of the blueprint. That's going to be released in the September timeframe as well. One of the promises of Cisco U was the restructuring of these large monolithic courses into smaller micro courses and then building that into a learning path. The fact is then we have this catalog. You can think of them as like Lego blocks, right? So you can have bits and pieces of, say CCNA, because CCNA has a ton of great foundational networking knowledge and experience, right? I mean, just amazing amounts of stuff there. In fact, anybody who's considering getting into networking, even if they're don't want to be a network engineer, CCNA is actually a really good course for that.
And I think you had a podcast on CLN recently, if I'm not mistaken, around CCNA that was pretty hit with our community, right?
Yes, it was actually a huge. Back in late 2019, early 2020, we did a series of podcasts to help people prepare for their CCNA. So we had things around, what CLI commands should you really know in depth, and things of that nature. Those podcasts, when they were chunked up and brought into the Cisco Learning Network environment, it's like the number of hits on it is just absolutely amazing. It's like it just dwarfs most of the other ones, and I'm humbled by how many people have listened to my voice, this thing, and use that to help them prepare for their certification. But the truth is that there are a lot of people that use that as a stepping stone into it, and there are a lot of tips and tricks to prepare for that exam. When you walk into a certification exam, it'll be different than any exam that you've ever experienced. It's a proctored exam. You can't have any of your electronic devices. They take your phone and your watch and everything and put it into a bag. You're given like a little erasable board that you can scribble your notes on, but you can't take any paper or pen or anything in there with you. So it is really a sterile environment. You take your test, you go from item 1 to item 2 to item 3, but you can't go back. So when you hit to item like 22, you can't, wait a minute, I was wrong on number 7. I can't go back and fix that, right? So these are just things that just don't jive with how you take an exam. If you've been to a university, if you've gone through a degree program, it's like, and it was eye-opening for me to really understand how that experience was. And I think that resonated well with a lot of people. And I think that's why they've become and maintained their popularity.
And it sets that expectation on what to have going into the exam, how to prepare, both mentally and emotionally. Not being able to go back is a big thing for people, and setting that expectation really allows people to prepare for that and come in more confident into the space. So that's exciting. Glad to hear you're doing so. Or that podcast that you did a long time ago seems to be doing really well.
But bring us back on the conversation on the Lego blocks that I had you veer off of.
Yeah, so Kareem definitely derailed me there, but that's okay. I'll get back into what we're talking about. The original promise with Cisco U was that we were going to have this catalog of small bits and pieces of content, usable content, reusable content is the key word that we're here for. And we have our first path in this world are some 3 job role related learning paths. So these are curated learning paths. They are focused on specific job roles. There is no or very minimal new content developed for them. And the goal there was really to leverage our catalog and the depth of our catalog. One of the strengths that we have is we've been building content for 20-ish years now, but in our various incarnations of learning at Cisco, learning and certifications. That's the background of where we're at with that. We have this huge backlog of content, but it was never easy for us to take 2 or 3 courses and mash them together into something that worked for a different audience, a different segment of the population out there. But now we have that ability to create these custom curated learning paths. So we have 3 of them that are going to be going live in September. We have a network administrator focused on the role there, and I've looked at that one in detail. It is a beast. It covers quite a bit of CCNAs thrown in there, but there's also some material around high-end RAN routing and the service software-defined WAN capabilities, but also quite a bit on programmability. So we pull in quite a few things from our programmability PRNE course, which is our programmability and automation course. So again, it's a really solid program. It is not lightweight by any stretch of the imagination. And I feel that if you work your way through that, you will become very familiar with the role of a networking administrator. Similar for the other 2, network security engineer and the network automation engineer. These are all really exciting and cool stuff. So I'm really excited about this. These are the first shoots of our Cisco U, and I am really excited to see how well these go. I'm hoping that we have the ability to do a lot more of these because, again, I think they're high impact. I think they are low cost for us to develop. It doesn't require a whole lot of work. That's what I mean by cost, not dollars and cents. And it has the ability for us to tailor content that we currently have to do uses repurposed and to help people out there be successful in their career journey. So I'm really excited about
I think
that.
this makes perfect sense. Yeah, it makes really sense. Like if you look at it from what we have currently and actually what our community and our folks that come into Cisco U ask for, they're like, hey, I'm a network engineer. I'm looking into like getting into this automation thing. So now you don't actually have to go look at the different learning path that's around automation. You can just go in and take the network automation engineer job role kind of learning path, and we have all the content there for you that you can start taking and learning, including our awesome labs. So I'm really excited about this, and I can see a lot of potential. Like we can get into cloud networking engineer, or we can tie it into some of our partnership with content from Skillsoft and other learning partners that we have. So I think it's a great option for our learners to have, and I'm excited about it as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Geoff, you've given us a ton of great information and a lot for our listeners, our snackers to go out and check out come the month of September, and it sounds like even into October. But we're out of time today, and so we're gonna have to let you go. But we should definitely have you back as these courses come out and maybe dig into some of the curriculum in them and find out, just kind of help guide people along so that they can get a little of your guidance and expertise as we move through these things. So thanks for joining us this week. We really appreciate it.
No problem. It was actually a joy, and I'm glad that you guys invited me. I'd be more than happy to jump on anytime in the future.
Thank you,
All right,
Geoff.
thanks, Geoff. All right, snackers. We'll see you next week.